This is one of the most important videos, and in this video we are going to have a look at methods in Java. Methods, as you might have heard, are called functions in C, C++, and they are referred to procedures in some other languages, but in Java these are called as methods. So our agenda consists of understanding these methods, then understanding why do we need methods, then we'll get have some fun, we'll create our own methods, and then we'll have a look at how to return values from these methods. But before that, forget about methods. Let's start with your daily schedule. What is the first thing that you do in the morning? Come on, start listing. So first of all, you wake up. Don't worry about why we are doing this, just play along. You wake up, then you brush your teeth, then you take a shower, and then you eat your breakfast, then you go to your work, college, school, whatever, and there you work, you study, you have your office hours, work hours, then in the lunchtime you have lunch, then again work, then you travel back home, and at home you take some rest, listen to some music, talk to some family friends, then you have dinner, then maybe in the night you read a book and you fall asleep. So let's call this our daily routine, and let us try and list those things. So these are all the things listed. But don't you think the list is too long? Don't you think that some of the things which we have mentioned here can be grouped and called something small? So let us do exactly that. So this is our whole list. Let us shorten this list up. So here we go. Just have a look. So we have our daily routine method which we had earlier, in which so these were the four items which we had: waking up, brushing teeth, taking shower, and eating breakfast. So these are now part of morning chores. Like daily routine, we created something as morning chores, and these four things are now a part of morning chores. Then the next thing was traveling. So we are saying that you're traveling from home to your work. So this is what this statement means. Don't worry if you're not getting the syntax right now. Just consider that your daily routine starts from the open bracket to the close bracket, and this open and close parentheses are a part of the syntax. So we already saw morning chores, then we are seeing traveling from home to work. Then we have our work hours, where, considering in this example that you are a student, you attend lectures, you have lunch during break, you attend more lectures. Then again you travel, but this time from work to home. So we have this travel from work to home. And the last part, as we saw, was the relaxed part, in which you say listen to music, talk to friends, dinner, then sleep. So what we did, we broke our list of activities and grouped them. So we had a list of many activities, and now we have morning chores, which again consists of activities, but our daily routine is now simple. We have morning chores, we have travel from home to work, we have travel from work to home, then we have relax. Now what exactly happened? So we took certain activities, we grouped them, but what actually we did, we created a method. So method is nothing but a collection of statements performing an operation or several of them, And for example, our morning chores method, it consisted of 4 to 5 activities, which had like waking up, then brushing teeth, etc. So it's a collection of statements performing an operation. The important question here is, why do we need methods? So recall the travel method we had created. So in our first instance, we were traveling from home to work. Then in the second instance, we were traveling from work to home. Now notice that the activity is same. The activity is same, that you are basically traveling. So just ignore the spelling. The activity is same, that you are traveling, but in the first case you are traveling from home to work. In the second case you are traveling from work to home. So the only difference is the start and the destination. So methods kind of have same set of statements and they cater to different scenarios. So they help us model to the real world and also saves a lot of redundant code. So when we have our travel method, we don't need to define another travel method when you are traveling from work to home. We only have to specify that the initial destination and the final destination. In the first case, the initial destination is home and the final destination is work. In the second case, the initial destination is work and the final destination is home. Now, have a look at your first method. What the method does is the method add two numbers. Those two numbers may be anything. It basically takes two numbers and it prints the sum of those two numbers. Now let us actually see each and every element of the method. This public here, this is your access modifier. As of now, you don't need to worry about it, but access modifier kind of defines the way other things may be able to access your method. So when you'll study classes and objects, you'll have a more clearer about idea about it. But as of now, just assume that it is basically how your method is accessed, whether it is publicly available or it is private to a certain class, or it has the default values. The next thing is return type. This method is printing something, but is the method returning it? So this is the part where you specify the return type. So if the method is returning an integer, you specify int here. If it is returning a double valued number, you specify double here. But in this case, it is just printing something. It is just taking two numbers and it is printing it. So it is not returning anything. So when the method is not returning anything, then the return type is void. Now coming to the coolest part of the method is the name of the method. So we have named our method add two numbers. So this is the name of the method. Next are the parameters. So this method is, or the arguments, these are also called arguments. So this method is taking basically two numbers, two integers to be precise, num1 and num2. So these are the arguments or the parameters of the method. This is what you have to supply to the method, and it may or may not return something, but it will do something with what you have supplied. So you supplied two numbers and it is printing the sum of those two numbers. And as you might have guessed, this part here is basically the body of the method. This is the main part where the method performs its action. So it took two numbers, it took two arguments or parameters as we discussed, and it did something to it. So what that something is will be specified in the body. Whatever it will do will come in the body. Now a little while back we saw something called as return, and we saw that we were returning void. Basically we were not returning anything. So the methods were performing something, but now we want them to return something. And where do they return something? Method is called from somewhere, and in our case we are calling our method from main. Remember public static void main. So even that's a method. So now what we discussed previously, that method, how a method is declared. So method, this public here is the access modifier. Don't worry about the static part, we'll discuss that later. Void here is the return type, main here is the name of the method, and these are the parameters or arguments of the method. So our main, which we have been using since the first video to create a hello world program, is basically a method. So we will be calling a method from this main method, and when the method executes and performs its action and it returns something, those return values are returned to the method they were called from, and in our case that's the main method. Let us now try to create the method. Our method is called minor or adult. What it does is that it takes the age and returns a string. So remember this part, it basically returns something. It returns a string, okay, whether the person with the given age is a minor or an adult. Let's now write our method. But before that we need to answer a few questions. That what is the return type? As we saw that it basically returns a string. So the return type is string. What are the parameters? We have got one parameter, that is the age, and age is always an integer. So say int age is the parameter. What is the name of the method? We can call it anything. We can call it age, we can call it adult finder or anything. In our case we are calling it minor or adult. So we have answered these three questions. Let us now see how our method will look like. So this is our method, this is our access modifier, this is the return type. It's basically returning a string. This is the name of the method, and this is the parameter. Here what we have, here we have the body where the actual action will be done. So what is happening is it is checking whether the age is greater than or equal to 18. If it is greater than or equal to 18, it is basically returning the string adult. So consider, so have a look at this. Return is written with using the return keyword, and whatever you have to return comes next. As soon as the compiler reads the statement, during runtime it basically exits from the method to the calling method. So when you return something, the value is returned to the calling method. So if age is greater than or equal to 18, adult will be returned, else minor will be returned. Where will it be returned? We'll again have a look. We know from the main method, but let's have a look at how it will be returned. Now this is the part where things start to get sexy. This is our main method. We defined a variable a with the value 34. It's an integer. Now we are calling the method minor or adult. So, and we are passing the value a. As soon as this method is called, from this line the method is invoked, and now the execution here will be stopped and the execution will go to the method will start executing, and until and unless the method will, and when the method is finished or when method returns something, it will come back here. So the method will return a string. If the age is, if you're passing 34 as the age, it will return the string adult, and this string will come here and it will be stored in our local variable result. So we got a string in return adult and that will be stored. This reference variable result will be pointing to that string, and we can just print out the result. So again we'll go through two of the concepts. One was the void keyword. In this example we did not use void because it was returning something. Remember that when a method does not return something, like our first method which was to add two numbers, when it is not returning something, then the return type is void. And method invocation, so the program control, so when main was being executed, whenever the function is invoked, the program control goes to the function and this is executed. Then once the execution is completed, then the program control comes back to say main, considering this was your main and this was your method. So whenever the program control is at main and it say the method is invoked, the program control goes to the method is executed, and then when it is executed it returns a value, then the program control comes back to main. So let us summarize what we learnt. Methods are basically collection of statements and they perform some action. They consist of the name, return type, access modifier, parameters, and the most important part, the body. And methods can return values and can return nothing, in which the case type is void. And remember, when a method is called, the program control is passed from the method from where it is called to the method which is invoked. And when that method stops executing or returns something, then the program control goes back to the method from which it was called.